Hey, everyone, and welcome to the Sales Unscripted podcast. I am one of your hosts, Margaret Henney.
Brian Neal here.
And we are back for your listening pleasure. For some reason, I'm
We're
dancing with my shoulders. If
you need to watch, if you're listening, you need to watch the YouTube channel. Let's go on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. Does this go to
It
video?
does, yeah. It goes on our YouTube channel.
So.
And on LinkedIn, Nick Highway, our wonderful videographer, he edits them and puts them into like little clips.
What's his last name?
Highway. But it's spelled with like E-I-G-H.
But that's how you say it?
Highway. How do you say it?
I just didn't know.
Oh, I was like,
I've always heard Nick. I never really heard his last name.
Yeah, Nick Highway.
He said Highway just kind of struck me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Like Mrs. Boulevard or, you know.
This is Boulevard. I didn't think about that, but yeah.
Hello, my name is Brian Roundabout.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So let's see. This is a podcast. And we've been podcasting for a long time. It is.
Are you setting up your
a little bit?
Okay, go
ahead. A little bit. So now I listen to iHeartRadio in the mornings. I listen to a radio show called Two Pros and a Cup of Joe. It's a sports show. I love it. It's fantastic. But there are always ads for podcasts on the breaks.
Okay.
Always. And there's a certain podcast voice that all the podcasts have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so they clearly read and they say sort of monotone, you know? So, but what if everything you knew about him was wrong? And it's like that. And then the trail after, so they have this like kind of boring draft. It's kind of like that true crimes thing.
Yeah.
And then they say available on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. They say that at the end of this, it's very clear podcasts. I'm like, it drives me nuts, right? When you say podcasts, it's like quick, just like end it like that. But when it's good audio and these people have the thing podcast instead of podcasts, it's a hard word to say.
Is it the enunciation that's really killing you?
It totally. It's just the extra. Like, have you? Do you know? There's a Finnish comedian. I don't know his name. I see him on TikTok.
There's no chance I know
He's
this
from
person.
Finland, but he does comedy in America. He is hilarious.
Okay.
But he talks about Finnish words relative to American words and things. And he said there's certain words that are just challenging. Like, where is the place where they make beer? And you say
brewery.
He said Americans can't even say brewery. And he does it in the Finnish. He's like brewery. Like, why do you even say that?
That's so true. That is one that you really gnaw on. You know, you're like chewing it.
So there are other words like that. They just don't make any sense.
Yeah,
It's very funny.
That's true.
So if you ever listen to iHeartRadio in the morning, when you hear the guy say available on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts, you'll hear that.
I'll be annoyed with you now.
What I mean.
I'll be like,
you'll say like take a log off the fire, Chief.
Yeah.
You like that,
I've never heard that before.
You ever heard that?
You know what?
That's a great thing to say if someone's like a little loud or something.
Yeah.
Hey, man, or inside voices. Do you ever do that? You don't have kids yet, but when you have kids, that's a thing. But then you'll say it to grown-ups once they're a little bit older, like, hey, inside voices. Come on.
Yeah. I love when you call people chief. I was just saying this, that like
seriously?
Men get called like boss or chief by bartenders. Like a lot of times, you know.
Oh my God, that's another subject.
And I want to be called boss. I like, hey, what do you have, boss?
Yeah.
I
so
never
do you
get
think,
called boss.
So what would you rather be called? You want to be called boss?
Yes, I think it's
I feel
awesome.
like that's almost offensive.
No, I love it.
It's
like,
almost disrespectful. It's
no,
like,
I'll tell you what's offensive is pal or buddy.
Oh my God.
Those are never. Hey, bud.
Bud is the biggest.
Listen,
patronizing pat on the top of the head.
Listen, if I'm ever saying those words, it's not in a good way. I'm not saying like, hey, buddy. I'm like, okay, bud.
That's so
Listen
funny.
here, pal. That's how I use those words.
I have a client that says that, but he's not from this country, and so it's a very common. It's actually a charming thing for him to say, but he calls me bud all the time, and I have to like breathe through that.
That's so funny.
It's so funny.
Man, I want to be called boss.
Well, I'm going to tell. So where do you go? Do you have a watering hole?
Dorman Street.
I've never been there.
Oh my God!
I'm a
you
foodie
like
local
dive
person.
bars?
Totally. Where's Dorman Street?
You got to come on my street.
All I
I
need
live
is a
on
freaking
Dorman
invite.
Street.
I mean,
okay,
I'm
I'm sorry. That's
away.
my fault.
No,
it's my fault.
okay.
That or Chatterbox. There's
Chatterbox. I know
love Chatterbox, but
nice.
like you know how a lot of times, whatever they'll be like, and I don't mind being called sweetheart or darling. That doesn't bother me.
Seriously,
but,
some women.
I know
don't
some
like
people
that
get
at all.
really upset by that. That doesn't bother me. I kind of like it. You know, I'm like, well, whatever. But then they'll look at Derek and they'll be like, how about you, boss? And I'm like, I'm
a boss.
I want to be boss.
Do you not see this? I want to be the boss. You should wear a little thing that says, "Please call me boss."
Oh God.
She, her, boss. Why
Those
not?
are my
right?
pronouns.
Totally.
Boss.
Yeah. What are your pronouns? Boss.
Boss.
Queen. You like queen or princess better? Princess is a little demeaning.
Princess
isn't
is totally demeaning.
It is, but what is queen?
Queen's fire.
Lift up.
Yeah. Let's
see.
go, Queen.
Wait,
what are
my
we
wife
talking
had.
about, by the way, are we going to talk about sales?
Queen, we are going to talk about sales
sweet.
in a minute. Yeah, we're talking about how to be a good connector.
Okay.
So my wife drove. Gotta love her, man. She worked her ass off in high school and had to buy her own car. She bought a Chevy Cavalier, and she had a. Did you have a little license plate thing covered like outside that said anything in your car in high school?
No, but I know what you mean.
Hers said, "All yield to the princess."
No,
it did. I swear she's going to be so pissed.
That is the most.
I said this
that's the most
the podcast.
off-brand stuff.
I know, but
I've
it was just
ever heard.
It was almost a joke like that because it's so off-brand. But I just love all
which makes
yield
it funnier
to the princess.
right?
That's the whole thing. It was more of that, like her high school friends making jokes. That's bad. All yield to the princess. She's going to be so pissed.
Why did you tell people?
She doesn't
about
really
that?
listen to the podcast though, so I think that's good. Okay, let's go sales stuff here.
Yep.
So the topic today is how can we be a good connector?
Yeah. Okay.
Margaret and I love the concept of using connectors to help us in the sales process.
Yep.
And we talk about it and we do it. And there's another half to it, though, that I don't think people spend much time on figuring out how to be good at this side of it. Okay. And that is how to give to the connector base versus how to get. Because when we think of connectors, we think, oh, I know Margaret. Margaret knows Jason. Margaret can introduce me to Jason. I get something.
Yep.
So now we want to talk about how to be a good connector. So we be the ones that are connecting others.
We be.
And I love we. You know what Weeby's a thing? You know what a Weeby is?
No.
It's a women-owned business enterprise.
Oh,
it's called Weeby. It's a certification you get.
Oh, Weeby. I like it.
Which we see if I can make up ground with my wife now. So she owns half our company. I wanted her to be the majority owner. And because we could qualify for Weeby. Because then you get, if you go to like sell to like auto, big companies that have diversity initiatives.
I love
if you're a Weeby, you get credit for that. Isn't that fun?
I had no idea that was a real thing. I couldn't help myself. I like the way you say that.
Weeby. That's what it is.
So Weeby connectors. Weeby
Women
connected.
Business Enterprise. So let's talk about this. So what's your, let's talk about philosophy. Let's talk about like what to do to be a good connector.
Okay. I'm probably going to steal one of yours, but I'm sorry. You taught me, 3-headed emails.
Oh, fantastic.
Like perfect, great connector. Okay, so a 3-headed email is, and someone may have asked you for it, or you may just say voluntarily that you're going to do this. It's when you know 2 people and a 3-headed email, all 3 of you are on there. And you did this in the video that you sent me when you connected as well, where you make a fun little intro. I think it's like actually a fun challenge. I feel like I'm a newscaster or something where I'm like, Brian, meet Matt.
Oh, that's good.
Matt lives in Charleston and does, this is about him. Matt, meet Brian. Brian is an NFL referee and just started, BZSOS as part of his business or, whatever that like connection might be. You guys take it from here. So hopefully you're finding some kind of, connector, why you guys should be talking. And then you just say, okay, you guys take it on from here. And they'll move you to BCC. But like, I don't know. I think it's so fun to do.
It's so fun to do. Yeah. So here's the thing. So I love the why behind it to me. It's a non-tit for tat, non-scorekeeper exercise.
Right.
So you're not putting people together and then putting in your little notebook here. So Margaret owes me one. Chip owes me one. You're not doing
Scratch
that.
my back.
It's karmic, right? It's just not a deal.
Totally.
So you just put it out there. Think if you're on the other side of that, how good that feels. It feels like, because you usually brag on people.
Oh, yeah.
It's sincere. Like, you two should know each other. You're great people. You try to get together, whatever.
Yep.
And and you're trying to not only like you brag on people and hear that, but you're also trying to help someone grow a relationship, which is also good. So you're on the receiving end of that. There's nothing weird or bad about that. People love that stuff. They love it, right?
And you are helping both of those people, right?
Totally.
It's not just 100%. One person. You believe in both of them or have had great experiences with both of them. And you're like, oh my gosh, absolutely. You guys need to get together with each other. So
100%.
There's a great satisfaction in doing that. So 3-headed emails, I love those.
I love that. And so I next think that everyone should have a written goal. So I have this. So I have 2 a month. I try to send 2 unsolicited connector emails, 3-headed emails a month.
Job.
I think people should scoreboard it. That's
like
my other little technique.
Yeah, nice.
Because a lot of people will do it and they'll they'll think of it once and whatever.
Yep.
I think you should measure it and say, did I put my 2 together? I made my goal sitting on my couch with you on the weekend because I put you together with Glenn. I put you together with Chip and done for the month.
Yeah.
And I know if I do that 2 times a month, all the months for all the years, this connection swell will be good to me over time. It just will, right? It just will.
Yep. Everything comes back to you, right? It's an abundance kind of mindset
100%.
thing.
Yes.
And then you're also, growing your network, and people want to do that for you. Then it's just natural
it just will.
to want to help them out with
Yes.
it. I like to think of it of one time I had like a New Year's resolution where, because I will think about something when I see someone where I'm like, wow, I really like their shoes, or like, man, they are like some kind of compliment, but I wouldn't say it out loud. And so I was like, one of my resolutions was like telling them out loud, whatever that compliment was.
Why
right?
wouldn't you say it out loud?
I don't know. Well, because sometimes it would be
such a
strangers, but I would just see them and I'd be like,
really?
yeah.
And I think that's fantastic.
And now I'm like, I love to do it, because think about all the time that someone says it to you and you feel awesome.
Absolutely.
And you're like, man, I want to make people feel great in that way. I think it's the same way with connectors, because I think that a lot of times where I'll be like, man, you should really get together with so-and-so. And instead of just keeping that to yourself,
Yep.
say it out loud.
Just do.
And then they might also remind you too, right?
Yes.
So even if you're not doing it in that moment, they'll be like, ooh, that's a good one. Can you make sure that you do that? Like, I
For
don't
sure.
know. When you say it out loud, it's going to happen more often.
This is the thing. I know. It's I don't know why. This is very natural for me. I love to give people compliments. I even said, like, oh, your hair looks great.
Yeah,
it just looked different to me. Like,
Yeah.
hey, your hair looks awesome. It's just because it did. It looked different. What'd you say you did?
I pulled like a half up, half
I
back
didn't-
sort
so
of thing.
it just like, I'm like, okay, that's cool. So it is great, isn't it?
Yeah. And
Like,
I loved
but
it.
there was nothing different about it, or
Nope.
you didn't get your hair cut or colored or anything.
Nope.
But it's good. It's nice. Like, well, that's nice, right?
Yeah.
And so you just can't go wrong with this stuff. Obviously, you don't do creepy stuff,
Well,
that.
sure.
But some people, you gotta say that though.
Yeah.
these days,
Okay, that's a
especially
good point.
in the industry you're
That's a good point.
See what I'm saying?
I was at NADA and I wanted to look really good for my speaking.
Yeah.
And I mostly wear black, white, gray, neutrals. And I was like, that's not really going to cut it. I bought a blue suit.
It was fire.
Like
I saw.
Did you?
I saw.
I felt so good
Awesome.
and powerful.
Yes.
And I cannot tell you the number of compliments that I got, but people went out of their way to
Yes.
say, great suit.
Exactly. Doesn't
and
it feel good?
I couldn't believe it. I was
Right.
like, that is so sweet.
Yes.
So
Yes.
anyway, I just
did
liked
too.
it. It made me feel really good.
I got a yellow jacket, a super bright, like
Yeah, you did.
sunglasses, yellow jacket. And my brother made fun of me because it was a Hilfiger, Tommy Hilfiger. It's like
Oh.
old school.
Yeah.
And I was telling Steph, I'm like, I don't know. She's like, it looks awesome, baby. You should wear it.
Yes.
18 people that day. That is a great jacket, dude. That looks awesome. It's fire. Like, hey,
Yes.
thanks. Feels good, doesn't it? So the lesson to be a good connector is don't hold that stuff back.
Mm-hmm.
Spread it around. People, even if it's a stranger, like, I'm sorry, excuse me, your hair is awesome.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
got some funky hairdo or something like that's just great, you know?
It's the same
It's
thing.
good. You
Putting
just do.
those people
Put
together.
them out. Yeah.
Yep.
So scoreboard is my second one.
Okay.
My first, our second, my first. To make sure you have a written goal in your business plan that says how many times a month you do this.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be a lot. It has to be consistent. You got to do it every month. That's
Ooh,
my-
I have a good
Oh,
way
go.
to do
I'm
that
ready.
too.
Let's do it.
So if you have this goal and like, let's say something has not come to you and you're like, man, I just can't think of anybody. Go on your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And look at people that you are maybe connected with who are not connected to each other, because you can find out, right? You can see like
Yes.
who else are you guys connected to or whatever. Maybe you've got somebody in mind and you're like, this person would be great. Like I
awesome.
need to get them linked up. Huh.
What?
Sorry.
It's LinkedIn linked up. It's
I know,
fine.
because people will do that too. Like I'll look at someone's
Right.
if there's, and I'm like, ooh, Brian knows this person. I'll be like,
That's it.
hey, Brian, it looks like you're connected with, Joe Schmo. Do you know Joe well enough to make an introduction
Yeah.
for me?
Yeah.
And if you do, you're like, yeah, absolutely.
And if you do the giving part,
Yep.
that gets way easier because it feels more in like universal balance too.
Yep.
And then people will just, and like you said, people will just connect you because they will. It just comes back to you. I'm a huge fan. So do the goal. I love using the LinkedIn thing. I'm also a fan of trying to find something that someone is doing that's really cool, that they're proud of, and sharing it with someone who's not doing the thing.
Oh, I like
Does that make
it.
sense?
Yeah.
So an example would be, let's go NADA.
Okay.
So you spoke at NADA this year.
Yeah.
It's fantastic on the live stage. And then let's pretend I don't, but pretend I have a friend or someone I know that's making some software for the auto biz.
Oh, yeah.
And it would be good for them to speak at NADA. I might say, hey, Susan, I want you to meet my friend Margaret. I know you talked a little bit about going to NADA and speaking is an interesting thing. Margaret just went through the process. I'd love to connect you so she can tell you all the ins and outs, do's and don'ts about how to become a speaker at NADA.
I love that.
So it's a little more specific about doing something versus just putting people together. So you have expertise in how to be a speaker at NADA. I want to share your expertise with someone else, but I'd rather it come from you than me.
That's
awesome.
What I mean? I love that. What a great call.
You have to be looking for that. You have to be thinking about what do people want. An easy thing to do, like peer group work. Like I might be looking at a younger CEO or something, and I just see them doing certain things. I'm like, hey, I want to introduce you to my friend Mike. He runs CEO peer groups, and he can give you the ins and outs of like what to do because you guys need to like take a look at that. I think see that. It's a little good intention, well-intentioned lean in, unsolicited. I think that's the key. People like say, well, you didn't ask me. So I'm like, if I'm coming from the goodness, who cares?
Because they can take it however they want.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like whether they do something with it or not is their business.
Yes.
Wait, I have to share something with you really funny.
We're talking about our business
People's
here.
business. Okay, so I was talking, I went to NADA with a couple of my favorite colleagues, Anna and Mackenzie, and like they are so great all the time, but wonderful to travel with, and we get along well as friends too.
Awesome.
I was telling them I was having the worst time getting my hair straightened in the back. It had like this weird wave to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I just, but I can't see it back there. And my friend Anna was like, oh, the back of your hair. She's like, that. I just say that's none of my business.
That's fantastic.
Because she's like, I can't see. That's none of my business. And I was like,
fantastic.
I know. I was like, I'm gonna start using that shit more often.
It's beautiful,
I was like,
isn't it?
I don't care.
Like
can't
you got
see
a
it.
big thing in the back. No, it's none of my business. Can't see it. It's true, isn't it?
Doesn't bother me. So
I just wonder that if I have like a spot on the top of my head, like I have a big crown.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm very weird for my age. I have all of my hair.
Yeah, you
and
do.
It's not colored.
Like a lot
It's not
of
colored.
it too.
I've never colored. And it's not gray.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really strange.
I know. It's nice.
Getting kind of used to it. Hopefully I get to keep it.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt with that, but I was like,
so do you have another one? Because I have one more.
No, you go ahead.
You
then.
sure?
Yeah.
Well, we already said it, and I did it. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I did it for the first time with this weekend. Steph does it here, is using video to do the connector. I'd never done that.
I didn't think of that.
Well, that's why I was trying to like give you some space.
Yeah, you're
I'm trying
like,
to send it to you telepathically.
Here's
Like
an underhand,
there's
Margaret.
something you do for a living that might apply
They're like, could you maybe think of another way that might
you said
be
earlier,
possibly?
I feel like I'm a little off today, so
Sorry.
I don't think you are. Right?
I'm sorry.
Maybe it's the ADD meds. Oh wait, no, you don't have those yet because you're not diagnosed.
Need 'em.
I would highly recommend you do these connections through video. Steph started using Co-Video to do her connections, and she gets so many compliments on that. People like, A, thanks for the connection. B, what a great way to introduce somebody.
Yeah.
Because you just get that energy coming through.
And it's so genuine.
It's so
genuine. Like the
so
tone
real.
that they're saying
100%.
and stuff. And you start to get excited too. Like
yes, you can
you
feel
did
it,
the
right?
same thing when you
I know.
made the connections for me
Yes.
for NADA. And you were like, oh, two of my favorite people. And I
Truth.
was like, ooh.
Truth. It's
I
the
felt
truth.
all good. And then I was excited about meeting them as well.
And it was true, wasn't
yeah,
it?
Totally
You met Chip,
true.
you guys are awesome, right?
Chip
like peas in a
is so
pod. Peas in a
lovely.
pod, and you're both in the same business. It's
Yeah.
stupid that you didn't know each other.
Yeah.
See, that's the energy comes through. So use video. I did a text, like a little video phone text, and you can use Co-Video. Stephanie does lots of connections via Co-Video here. So there's a little plug for another use case. There's a use case, kids, over at Co-Video. Introductory use case. Do you use use cases? Do you use that word?
Oh, yeah,
use
all
case?
the time.
I love use case.
Yeah, me too.
So funny. Okay, anything else?
By the
What?
way, I'll
Yeah.
tip my hat because
Please.
when it comes to connectors, like you are the king.
Oh, I love
like,
doing it. Thank
you're
you. I
So
appreciate
good at
that.
it. So
It's just very rewarding.
yeah, lots
I
to be
love
learned from you on it.
It's also fun. What the funnest part to me? Can you say funnest?
Sure.
Most
funnest-
fun?
Most fun. Yeah. Either way, whatever.
Is it work either way?
I think
don't
it's probably
does.
most fun.
I think it's most fun.
Yeah.
Funnest, funner,
Yeah.
more funner. Oh my gosh. Is when you put people together and because I do it just a couple a month and then I forget that I did it. And then a year later, I run into you and Chip at, you guys are having
we're like,
a drink or coffee. I'm like, and then I might even go, how do you guys know each other? Like you dumbass, you put us together. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. You know what I mean? Like you still talk like, we get together once a quarter. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Because it carries on past the event.
That's
I think
totally
it's a
true.
really, really good thing. So
Good energy.
go out there and be a great connector.
Yeah.
That's the lesson from today. All right, that's it. See you next time.
Bye.
Cheers.